Welcome back, and we're so glad to have with us a very special guest. Miss Marsha, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
We're so glad to have you. Introduce yourself to our viewing audience.
I'm Marsha Cain, and I live in Middle Tennessee, and I'm a retired social worker, mother, and grandmother.
Middle Tennessee?
Yes.
Well, what part of Middle Tennessee?
Well, I'm near Murfreesboro, but I'm actually replanted in the last few years from Michigan. So I've also lived in Kentucky.
Wow. I asked that question because I'm born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay, not too far away. Great.
Not too far away at all. Now, you have a fascinating book that you've written, and it's Poems and Prayers for the Ups and Downs of Life. Talk to us about that very briefly. And book one, Poems and Prayers for the Ups and Downs of Life. Book two, Poems and Prayers for a Changing World. Question: how did you get started writing these type of books?
Well, I think I started as a young child reading poetry to a grandfather that happened to be blind, and I read out loud to him, and I fell in love with the poems from Robert Louis Stevenson. And then I wrote a number of different things just to kind of comfort myself, entertain myself as a child. And then as I grew older and became a social worker, I had a lot of things that I needed to process.
Wow.
Which were challenging. So I
share
started
this
to
with
write
us.
a little bit.
What topics do you share in your books?
Well, pretty much everything and anything. It's I cover things from birth all the way up to turning 100, which I'm not 100, so that's good. I have funny things in my poems, entertaining things, but I also have things of a spiritual nature and poems that would be of encouragement for people who are going through challenging times.
So you talk about reading for your grandfather who was blind.
Yes.
And so with that, would that be a source of your inspiration and your encouragement for writing your books?
Yes, and my father also did quite a bit of writing in his life. He's passed now, but he wrote 2 books during his retirement, and I was very proud of him to do that in his later years.
Wow, now that's powerful. Let me ask you this. What attracted you to writing poetry versus other types of books and other genres of writing?
I can be a rather talkative person and rather wordy, so it's a challenge to me to try to be concise in a poem and have it make sense and have it address a lot of issues in a very succinct way. And that's what I like about it. It's kind of like putting a puzzle together.
Wow. You know, I thought about something. When we go fishing, we fish for a particular type of fish. With you writing, describe your target audience for your books.
Well, actually, my target audience is really all ages. I would imagine adults would like it, but it's also got some things in there for kids, something that you could read out loud to your children or grandchildren, because there's funny stories, there's poems that deal with kids cleaning up their room and making dinner and not having that work out too good and things like that. I even have a funny poem about encouraging people to go get a colonoscopy.
Oh my goodness, that's good.
And I have stuff about 9/11 and stuff about COVID and stuff about reading an obituary and seeing your parents' age and things about the cross and things.
Wow.
So I just cover the whole gamut.
I see you're very diverse in your writing. Okay. What about feedback from your readers? What type of feedback have you got?
Well, I've gotten some really great feedback. Surprisingly, some of the feedback that I've gotten has been from men, which I wouldn't have expected. People that are getting the book and putting it on their desk and reading a little each day or putting it on their nightstand. One of the a hairdresser of mine, she says she keeps it by her workstation because she says she's not a reader, but she likes to read my book because it's short and she can read it in short segments. And I think that's an encouragement for people on the run.
You know, now that feeds into the society that we have. If it's quick, if it's short and they can read it, they would definitely do that. Tell me, how are you disseminating the information about your books? How are you getting the word out?
Well, I will be doing web pages and that kind of thing. I will also am planning on doing speaking engagements and book signings and that sort of thing.
Wow.
I do topical things for people because I cover such a wide variety of topics. I can focus in on maybe doing some things related to challenges related to sorrow, grief. Some of my writings were actually as a result of my working with terminally ill children.
Yes.
That had severe handicaps. So
Yeah.
process a lot of my own grief, as dealing with them, so that I would be a good social worker and would be sensitive to their needs, but also still be able to function.
Yeah, now that speaks volumes. Social work, poetry, being able to connect, if you will, identify with different genres. Do this for us. Understand that you want to share this gift of poetry that you have with our viewing audience. So why don't you share some of the poems that you've written with our viewing audience?
Thank you so much. This first poem is called How Long's a Mother's Love. This poem is written for the idea that a parent is saying, maybe getting ready to say goodbye to their child, going off to college or joining the military or getting married. And I'll read this to you. How long's a mother's love? Can it stretch around the moon? Can it wind its way to Africa and be back again by noon? Can it soar o'er the mountains or go underneath the sea? Through many different pathways, I've meant to set you free. I've meant to give you courage so you alone could soar. Have I opened every window and helped you find each door? Have I given you the guidance of a mother's love? Have I prayed enough in secret to the Father up above? Oh, I know that I'm not perfect and my love's not always true, but I hope I'll make a difference in this big world for you. So now that we are leaving and you soon will be apart, I offer up my prayers for you, but I give to you my heart.
Wow, how impactful. You talk about soaring, you talk about giving your heart. It's so encouraging. That is amazing, amazing, amazing. I want to encourage our viewers. You need to go and get a copy of this book when it's available. You need to do that. Share another poem with us, please.
Well, this one's for the guys, and it's called The Old Guys. The old guys at the restaurant love to swap tall tales, fighting wars or catching fish or just staying out of jail. Reminisce about their exploits, their best friends or better days. They argue about politics and about the latest craze. They talk about old glory and what it meant to serve. They share their pictures of their grandkids and how some folks got the nerve. The guys like to tease their buddies or tell a corny joke or share a plate of pancakes or just drink a simple Coke. They each promote their favorite team or argue about the stats. They trade the latest health news and admit they're growing fat. They complain about the weather, their doctor, or their wife. They compare notes on how to fix a car, a faucet, or a life. So remember, when you're stopping by that restaurant just to eat, give a wave to all the old guys who have made our life a treat.
Wow. Now that is really awesome how you've gone across and connecting with men and pulling them in and letting them share some things. And it's so very important. I was visualizing as you were reading that, and I say, well, she didn't have to talk about me getting fat. Now, I know I got a few extra pounds. That is so amazing. That is wonderful. We have a little bit time. Share another poem with our viewing audience, if you would.
Okay, and this one is in my new book that's coming out, which has to do with poems and prayers for changing times. And this one might be geared to the younger set. It's called Where Do All the Kites Go? Where do all the kites go when they've blown away? Do they go to Paris or far, far away?
Wow.
Perhaps they go to England for a visit with the Queen, or maybe they get tangled when flying downstream. Do they go to Austria to enjoy a mountain view, or maybe catch a train that is barreling through? Perhaps they visit farmers who are growing winter wheat, or make friends with bakers delivering homemade treats. It would be such fun to fly away with all the kites, but my mother would sure miss me when she tucked me in at night.
Now I'm gonna tell you, I saw myself as a kid on the playground, and we would fly our kites, and they would get so far up in the sky, and sometimes that cord would snap.
Yes.
And there it goes. So where did that kite go? That
You
is
wonder.
amazing.
And that's a wonderful thing to think about before you're going to bed at night and you want to have a happy dream.
Yes, yes, yes. That is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So now we have, do you have another poem that you can share with us?
Yes, I do. I have another one. It's about grandmothers.
And yes, do that. Share that.
I'll read this one. It's called A Grandmother's Prayers, and my book is about prayer. So
yes, so
prayers. Powerful. Stretching across many miles and far above the seas, a grandmother's prayers reach the heart of God as she prays on aching knees. Quiet whispers in the night, she shares her tales of love with the Savior she has come to know, for the child she's come to love. She remembers oh so well the day that each was born, the pure excitement and the joy of holding a newborn. She recalls counting toes as she offered her sweet kiss. She remembers many nights when a grandchild was dearly missed. She remembers special times when her grands were not yet tall, when they would read a funny book or play with a bat and ball. Day and night her prayers go up as she utters forth her pleas, whether for a broken heart or for broken, battered knees. She prays for her grown children as they go along their way, that they will treasure each new child and follow in God's ways. She thanks her Lord for special gifts she's received along the way, pictures and homemade cards with words her grands would say. As her prayers continue on and her grands move on in life, she asks her Lord to bless each one, keep them from fear and strife. She prays for safety for each child, whether big or small. She prays that God will show them grace and help them when they fall. She prays her grands will know her Lord, whom she's loved for many years, and they will come to know God's truth that will guide them through their tears.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. You're touching the hearts. You're pulling people in where they can connect because you're getting personal with your poetry. You also involve just the necessity of having an intimate relationship with God. So it is so heartfelt and so warming to listen to it. This is a book that you need to go out and get. And don't forget to go out and get it. And I would encourage you, our viewing audience, to also get an extra copy and share it with someone. Now, what we need to do here, share another poem with us. I see we have some more time. If you'd like to share another poem with us.
Okay, let me find another one quickly. This is a funny one. This is, again, for children. It's called My Room. My room's a disaster. My clothes I can't find. My homework is missing. I've just found some slime. Some toys I found broken. Some dirt's on the floor. I found in a picture of what? I'm not sure. My mom will be angry. My grandma will too, if I have to tell them there's a frog in my shoe. My lunchbox is missing. Some food's on its way. The trash should be emptied sometime later today. I think I'll keep playing, but maybe instead I should clean up my room and look under my bed.
Wow. Thank you so much for being with us. Really, really powerful. We want to thank you for being our special guest. And remember, go out and get this special book. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.